I came back from my business trip earlier than expected. I didn't tell anyone I was returning. I wanted to surprise Miguel. When I arrived on our street, I saw several cars parked in front of our house. The garden was decorated with blue and pink balloons, and a banner read, "Welcome our little miracle." I parked my car a street away and walked over. The door was slightly open, music and laughter spilling from inside. When I stepped in, I froze in the middle of the living room. Carmen, my best friend, was visibly 6 months pregnant. My mother-in-law, Rosa, was gently stroking her belly while my mother served drinks. Gifts were stacked on a decorated table. "So, is the nursery ready?" my Aunt Elena asked. "Almost," Carmen replied. Miguel insisted on painting it himself. He's been working on it every weekend. At that moment, my husband walked in, carrying more drinks. He approached Carmen and hugged her from behind, placing his hands on her belly. "We just need to set up the crib. We picked it out together last week." I watched as my mother stiffened upon seeing me. She quickly walked over. "Anna, we weren't expecting you today," she whispered, grabbing my arm. "Let's go outside. We need to talk." I pulled away from her grasp. "Talk about what?" "About how my husband got my best friend pregnant while I was working in another country?" The chatter in the room died down. Carmen was the first to notice me. Her face turned pale. Miguel stood frozen, his hands still on her belly. "Anna," he began. "Don't you dare," I cut him off. "How long have you been cheating on me?" No one answered. My father, standing in a corner, couldn't even look me in the eye. "I can explain," Carmen said, taking a step forward. "We didn't want you to find out like this." "Oh. And how were you planning to tell me? After the baby was born? Or when they turned 18? My mother-in-law stepped in. "Anna, please, think about the baby. Carmen doesn't need this stress in her condition." "Her condition?" I let out a humorless laugh. "The same condition I was in 2 years ago when I lost my baby." "Where was your concern then, Rosa?" The silence that followed was deafening. My mother tried again. "Honey, I know this is difficult." "Difficult for whom?" "For me, who worked non-stop for 9 months while my husband was sleeping with my best friend? Or for all of you who had to keep up the charade?" Miguel finally stepped away from Carmen. "Anna, can we talk privately?" "Don't make a scene." "A scene?" "No, Miguel. A scene would be telling everyone how you convinced me to take that overseas job. How you said we needed the money to start our family." I turned to Carmen. "Did he tell you that? Or did he say he was lonely and abandoned while his cruel wife chased her career?" Carmen started crying. "It wasn't like that. We didn't plan this." "Of course not. I suppose you just tripped and fell pregnant by my husband. These things happen, right?" The guests began shifting uncomfortably, some grabbing their bags, ready to leave. My father finally spoke up. "Anna, calm down. You're upset." "Upset?" "No, Dad. I'm perfectly calm. In fact, I'm grateful." My mother frowned, confused. "Grateful?" "Yes, because now I see everyone for who they really are. My husband, the liar. My best friend, the traitor. And my family, the cowards who chose to protect this lie instead of me." I walked over to the gift table and grabbed one at random. "This one's yours, Mom. You bought a nice gift for your son-in-law's mistress's baby." "Anna, please," my mother pleaded. I tore the wrapping paper open. It was a white baby outfit with blue details. "How thoughtful. I hope you kept the receipt." Miguel stepped forward, trying to take the gift from my hands. "Enough, Anna. You're making a fool of yourself." "Making a fool of myself?" "No, Miguel. You did that all on your own, getting my best friend pregnant while I was paying all the bills." My mother-in-law stood up, outraged. "This is too much. Miguel was just looking for the happiness you couldn't give him, always busy, always working. You're right, Rosa. I was too busy working to pay the mortgage on the house where your son was sleeping with my friend. I looked around the room. Every familiar face now looked like that of a stranger. You know what? You can keep the house, the furniture, the gifts. But, Miguel, I suggest you get a good job because you won't have access to my money anymore. What are you talking about? He asked, turning pale. I'm talking about how, while I was overseas, I wasn't just working. I was also consulting a lawyer. I have proof of every penny I spent on this house, on you, on our marriage. I walked out of that house without looking back. My hands were shaking, my breathing erratic, but I refused to break down in front of them. They didn't deserve to see my tears. I walked away, ignoring the curious stares from the neighbors who had probably heard every word of the scene that had just unfolded. I got into my car, slammed the door shut, and gripped the steering wheel so tightly my fingers turned white. My vision blurred, but I refused to cry. I started the engine and drove no destination, no direction, just away. My phone was flooded with messages. Missed calls from my mother. Texts from Miguel. Even Carmen. Please, Anna, we need to talk. This wasn't supposed to happen this way. You don't understand the whole situation. Oh, I understood. I understood perfectly. I understood that while I was working to support my home, my family, my marriage, they were together. I understood that every time Miguel called me saying he missed me, it was a blatant lie. I understood that every time Carmen said she was busy and couldn't talk, it was because she was busy with him. A bitter taste filled my mouth. Disgust. Disgust at myself for not seeing it sooner. After driving for a while, I pulled into the parking lot of a random hotel. I needed a place to breathe. I wasn't going back to that house that now stood as a monument to my humiliation. I walked to the front desk and booked a room for a few days. The receptionist gave me a strange look, probably because of my disheveled appearance, but handed me the key without asking questions. The moment I stepped inside the room, I locked the door and collapsed onto the bed. Only then did the weight of everything crush me. I curled up, hugging myself, and let the tears fall, tears of rage, of disgust, of a deep, suffocating pain that squeezed my chest. But I couldn't stay like this forever. I had to do something. The next morning, I went straight to my lawyer's office. I want to start the process today, I said firmly. Divorce, property division, everything. And I want it to be clear that Miguel won't see a single cent of my money. He nodded. You have more than enough evidence to contest any claim he might make. The house is in your name. All the expenses were covered by you. He has no rights to anything. I took a deep breath. Good. Then let him find out the hard way.